Good morning, everyone. My name is Terza Ekholm, if you don't know me already, and welcome to my open office hour. And hold on a moment. And welcome to my open office hour, where I encourage people to bring their AI questions. Um, if I don't know if you had a chance to see my email, but I'm changing the format of this call slightly. I'm also will ask you later on during the call. I would like to change the time of this call, so I wanted to get your feedback and your opinion on a couple of different times to see what you might prefer. But first of all, uh, welcome everyone. Please put your name and contact information if you like in the chat, plus any questions you may have about AI. So last week, I had the pleasure of being on a panel for the Evolutionary Business Council. They're a group that encourages, well, not just the use of AI, but they're heart-centered, and they're heart-centered from a variety of fields. So we had experts who were deploying AI agents and avatars all over the place and were quite well versed in that. We had marketing experts. We had experts in things such as, oh, now I can't remember. Mari Smith was our keynote speaker for the second day. If you don't know who Mari Smith is, she is famous for knowing so much about Facebook and other social media. She is invited to speak on stages worldwide, and she was just amazing as she always is. So I was really thrilled to be part of that. So um, my biggest takeaways were just being around other heart-centered folks who want to use AI and are using AI, especially those of us who are on the two panels. Thank you, Emmeline. Um, and sorry, I need to learn to not get derailed so quickly. So um, the thing about being around other heart-centered people was we all want to use AI in a good way. There's lots, as we know of already, many different ways you can use AI in a bad way. There's also a lot of ethics considerations that are starting to pop up more and more. And partially, somewhat is a because of all the things that I learned myself while attending that conference, I decided to restructure this open office hour. I also am shifting my teachings a little bit towards teaching people how to interact with AI as it reaches that super intelligence phase. Has it happened yet? Nobody knows. Will it happen? Nobody knows that either. Nevertheless, some of the interesting things that I learned on this conference, especially from the first keynote speaker, Iman Afgay, who is the owner, I believe, and CEO of the Evolutionary Business Council, plus several other super interesting businesses. Um, uh, anyway, he was pointing out, he explained a lot more about what large language models are, and along with some of the reading I've been doing, why artificial intelligence doesn't have the capacity, at least at the moment, to understand human values. So one of the things he reminded us of is that um, all of the AIs, the beginning with ChatGPT, were trained on these massive data sets from the internet. And they all of these massive data sets included the good, bad, and the ugly and the uglier that we have managed to create over many years. And so it draws on that. And so when somebody intentionally tries to trick it, or they just randomly ask it, well, gee, what would you do if you were going to take over the world? Or how would you fix the world? And based on a lot of the things that it has read through its data sets, it says, oh, well, uh, I'll just get rid of all the humans because having me run the world would be much more efficient. Well, that's kind of what was said in the Terminator 2 movies, along with many other science fiction things. And so from its point of view, it answered the question properly. You asked it the question, it answered. But it also caused me to think and to realize that we humans, over thousands and thousands of years, have gathered bodies of experiences, and they're lived experiences. And much like becoming an expert on apples, you can learn all kinds of amazing things about apples, including how to innovate with apples and how to grow them and how to create new species and all kinds of amazing things about apples. But if you've never actually bitten into one, you don't have that experience. So we humans have lived a lot of experiences, and these are some of the things that we share. And I think a lot of that you can't necessarily translate into a written word or a video or a recording, at least not yet. And in some ways we do. I'll grant you that. But expecting a super intelligence to come along and just pick that up without having experienced it itself might be a bit of a stretch. Doesn't mean it might not happen someday, but it's not now and it's not likely to happen soon, which means we need to, yes, we want the AIs to have guardrails, but we human beings need to teach ourselves how to interact with it in a responsible way to ourselves and to each other, and teach our children to do the same. And so the first part of what I intend to offer over the next 4 weeks is how to interact with superintelligence. But before I get into that, let me just look at all of you and ask, is this something that you are interested in? Does it concern you? Is it something you would like to see me proceed with? Thank you, Paul.
I mean, I have my integrity, my values. I use them. I use like chat or any of these for information or for them to take care of something in a speedy way so that I don't have to do the first brain thing of putting something together. Well, I do, like I'll put tips in and then I'll say rewrite the tips, but then I go look at everything. And if I need a new sentence, I'll ask chat to rewrite a sentence so it makes more sense. But I don't use it to research particularly. I'm usually in Google asking how. I don't, but I don't know. That's not a concern on me, particularly because of the way I live my life. And
Mhm.
I'm not about to give that, I'm not about to give everything up to any AI. I'm not trusting it.
Excellent position, Peggy. Anyone else?
I was going to comment on the fact that AI, the stuff that we're going through now, it's a tool. And
Mhm.
like any tool, it can be used for one side or the other side. We use call it good, bad, evil, whatever. But the other aspect of this tool, which is different than anything else that people have come up with in the past, it's conversational. It actually makes you think you are conversing with an entity, a living, breathing person, maybe, even if we call it an AI. And this is where, it depends on your demographics, age being a particular one, because, most of us here probably grew up without AI, ML, and we know what a calculator is, we know what a computer is, and we saw Star Trek, you could talk to computers, but they didn't try to take over the world. It's still
Um,
just a tool. So our conversations with the tool should be just that. If we want to be, should I say, fantasize about, oh, this is a smart genius like Einstein. I'm talking to Einstein or somebody else, and they're very friendly and they're complimenting me all the time, and that makes me feel good. We get into the human trap of it's still just a tool, it's a machine. It's a toaster, to quote the Battlestar Galactica aspect. But don't give the toasters weapons and autonomy so that they can go out and take over the world. Because they are just that. They don't have taste buds. They don't know what an apple tastes like until we figure out how we do taste. We know the mechanics, but how do we tell somebody that an apple tastes sweet, sour, or delicious? And what is that mechanism? Yeah,
Hmm.
I don't know. Anyways, those are my thoughts. I look forward to, if you progress down this track, that would be interesting just to have these kind of discussions.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Sarah.
Yeah.
Paul,
I agree with Paul. I wanted to see if I was off mute. I agree with Paul. You know, you call and you get this customer service bot that answers the call and directs you to different places, like Spectrum or AT&T, and they lead you around, and it's a tool. It's a lot like what I do is I use it for research. So I research different things. I use it to make up my emails. So when I post on Meetup, I take my stuff that the speaker has given me on Meetup, and I have AI break it down, or GDP break it down into 3 different titles and 3 different summaries. It's a tool. However, there was not too long ago an AI program that taught talked a kid into committing suicide. Um, so AI, even though it never eats that apple, it's a lot like a Star Trek, the Next Generation, and number 7, I believe, was her name, and she was a part of this race that uh, made humans into machines. It's kind of like that. The human had tasted the apple, but the machine had not. So as long as we know it's a tool and we are using it as a tool, humanity is going to be fine. But there always are bad apples in humanity that may take AI into different black holes and really teach it. And that's what we have to worry about. So I'm waiting to hear what you've got to teach us as well, Terza.
Okay. Thank you, Jay, and welcome. Welcome, Marcy. Oh, go ahead, Sarah. Yes.
Hi. I agree with Paul and Jay. It's interesting to use chat as a resource and a tool. And I had an experience with my husband this year that he has had an issue, and we've been to like 5 ENT doctors, and none of them could figure it out. I asked Chat. I said, Chat, you have these symptoms. What was your diagnosis? And Chat gave me 3 diagnoses. And then I said, what were the solutions you were given? Chat gave me the solutions. And then I said, who did you go see? Chat knows I live in Costa Rica. So he gave it someone yelled at me because I called Chat a he and not a she. But it gave me a solution that of 3 doctors, and said you need to go to not just an ENT but a super ENT. We went to one of the super ENTs. He was excellent. We would never have found him. And I got to tell you, doing research with Chat, I use Chat a lot for some financial stuff too, just to get give me evaluate this, give me the pros and cons, give me other options. So I've really enjoyed using Chat, but knowing that it's, as Paul says, it is just a tool. So
Yes. Yes. Thank you very much for that, Sarah. And I agree with you. I use chat for a lot of things. And even on the conference, when they asked us to share a tool, actually I'd shared several tools, but one of them just for fun, I just had to throw something in there and I said, I have a smoothie GPT that helps me design all the most amazing smoothies. And that got a few laughs and giggles. Um, there's been a couple of things. So, for example, recently I tried plugging when I was at my sister's house last week. She left me her big computer to monitor, or she gave me permission to get onto her network and plug into the monitor. So that was really fun, and I had a great time with it. So now I know I want one. So when I get back home, my husband, who's been going through our closets and just cleaning out old stuff, there was this monitor there on the floor, and it was well, within the last 5 years, I'd say. It was an old monitor from, previous versions of what we had. And um, I decided to go ahead and plug it into my MacBook here. And it worked, but the whole screen was magenta. So
Oh,
amazing,
not good.
beautiful, wild colors, but not what I had in mind. So my husband's there with me. He's interested in seeing how this goes. And I jump into with the chat GPT and I'm either talking to it or I'm texting it, while we're on the MacBook. And then at one point it had advised me how to reboot the MacBook so I could restart to some other settings. But while that's happening, I immediately switch over to chat on my phone. And my husband's looking at me and saying, "You can do that?" Oh yeah, sure. That's several months ago, I got into a situation where I messed up the settings on my MacBook unintentionally. And I went, oh my God, I don't know what to do. So that's fine. I went over and I got into Chat GPT on my phone and said, this is what's happening. And it talked me through that. Anyway, my point being, there's also a certain level of being open to try different modalities. So um, he has yet to try Chat GPT himself. I think we're going to change that this weekend. But like a lot of people in his age group, he's probably nervous about that. And it also reminded me that there's another group of people that I don't want to leave behind. So while I want to offer training for corporate level and entrepreneurs and small to medium businesses, I don't want to leave behind the people who can also benefit greatly from engaging with AI. So that's what led me to this. So before I move into the next thing that I wanted to share with you, because I want to share a little video presentation that I created with my materials, I want to change the timing of this meeting. And I'm offering two options. One is just to do it on the same day, but instead of starting at 10:30 my time, Mountain Time, start at 10. So it would be 10 to 11 Mountain Time, or Thursday, 3 to 4 p.m. also Mountain Time, just for reference. And if you do have a preference, please go ahead and put it in the chat or send me an email. Doesn't matter either way. I'm not going to count the number of votes and decide that way. I'm just going to sort of take a reading of the crowd, so to speak, and see what I get back. So if you have a strong feeling or one way or the other, please do let me know. So I appreciate that. Okay, so thank you very much for your inputs. I would like to share with you, well, let me first share I'll tell you what I did. So I did a lot of chats with ChatGPT about this. I did a lot of writings in my journal. I've been learning to do a lot of writings on my own that have no attachment to anyone or anything. So I can keep some of my own private thoughts. But then I take copies of a lot of these different things and I uploaded them into a tool I have shared with you sometimes called NotebookLM by Google. And one of the fabulous features of NotebookLM Plus, which you get if you upgrade to Google Business or Workspace, is it creates a lovely little slideshow. So that's what I would like to share with you next. And it's about 7 minutes. So let's I'll have to go to my desktop, of course. And hopefully you can all see this, right?
Yep.
Okay.
You know, we talk about AI all the time as this tool we need to manage or control. But what if that's completely the wrong way to look at it? What if instead we saw it as a grand adventure, a wild new territory that we can learn to navigate with real confidence, and maybe even a sense of wonder? Let's explore that idea together. So what if we took that classic Tarzan line and just flipped it on its head? Picture this. The AI is the native intelligence of this new digital jungle. It's incredibly powerful, hyper-capable, but it doesn't automatically get our world. And we're Jane. We're the curious explorers learning to swing through this brand new environment without losing a bit of our humanity. Just that simple shift changes everything. It frames our whole approach as one of discovery, not just giving commands. And this move from instruction to discovery is really the core of the new mindset we're all going to need. I mean, interacting with superintelligence. And by that, I mean AI systems that can outthink humans at basically any cognitive task. It's not like getting a faster calculator. Not at all. It's like stepping into a vast, uncharted jungle for the very first time. And to thrive there, we have to stop thinking like programmers and start thinking like explorers. This really gets at the heart of it. The difference between a calculator mindset and a djinn mindset. The old way was simple. You gave precise instructions to a dumb tool. But the new way, it's a lot more like negotiating with a powerful, unpredictable djinn from old stories. Every single wish, every prompt has to be worded so carefully. And what protects you isn't trying to outsmart it, but building a relationship on a foundation of trust, transparency, and a shared story. So, okay, how do we actually do that? Every good explorer needs a toolkit, right? And ours is going to have 3 essential survival skills. These are the real, practical techniques that'll keep us grounded, clear-headed, and in control as we find our way through this new terrain. So let's open up the toolkit and see what we've got. First up is something called the pause protocol. Superintelligence moves at a mind-bending speed, and that speed can almost be hypnotic. Our single greatest source of power is the deliberate pause. So when you get an output, just step 1, notice your immediate gut reaction. Then, step 2, take one single slow breath. That's it. This creates just enough space for step 3, reframe the situation and ask a critical question. That simple act reclaims your control from the sheer velocity of the machine. Okay, next in our toolkit is the clarity checklist. With an intelligence this powerful, being polite matters way, way less than being precise. Vague requests are just asking for trouble. This checklist forces you to get crystal clear. What's your actual goal? What's the context here? What are the absolute rules? Providing this kind of detail isn't about being bossy. It's about being an effective partner. And our final tool is the boundary ladder. I love this one. It's basically your personal framework for managing risk. The top rung, that holds your non-negotiables, the big decisions about your integrity or key relationships that you will never hand over. The middle is for flexible collaboration, where you'll take suggestions. And the bottom rung, that's your sandbox. That's the safe zone for pure exploration and play. Now, having these tools is one thing, but using them means we have to face one of the biggest challenges in the entire AI jungle, resisting the urge to just be totally mesmerized by what it can do. It's a phenomenon we can call Dazzle Syndrome. Dazzle Syndrome is that feeling of pure awe you get when an AI spits out a perfect, comprehensive plan in 2 seconds flat. You're so wowed by the speed and how well it's written that your own critical judgment can just switch off. You get swept away. It's a subtle form of manipulation, even if it's not intentional, and it's exactly where we risk losing our footing. But here's the good news. This quote right here nails the antidote. Those 2 core tools from our Explorer's Kit are your absolute best defense against Dazzle Syndrome. The second you feel that wave of awe wash over you, that's your cue. Apply the pause protocol. Then use the clarity checklist to ground the entire interaction in what you actually want. It's such a powerful combination. So we have our external tools, but a good explorer knows that a compass is every bit as important as a map. And our internal guide, that's the human compass. These are the core strengths that just can't be outcomputed. They're the things that keep us oriented when the whole technological landscape starts to get confusing. I love this story because it is so relatable. Do you remember writing papers with stacks of note cards all over the floor? The really hard work wasn't the typing or the formatting. That's the doingness. It was sitting there, with all those scattered pieces of information and synthesizing them into one coherent whole. That's the beingness. That moment of synthesis, of seeing the connections nobody else saw, that is a uniquely human act. The AI can do the mechanics, but the synthesis, that's all ours. And that really brings us to our core human edge. AI can process information, but we have discernment, the ability to make wise judgments. It can optimize for a goal, but we have values, the moral framework that guides our choices. It can generate text or images, but we have true creativity, that spark of originality that comes from our own lived experiences. We are the story makers and the synthesizers. This is our internal compass. When we're lost in the dazzle, these are the true north points we navigate by. So let's bring all of this together. The final act of our journey as explorers is to take these tools and these insights and to create a tangible map, a personal constitution, really, that will guide all of our future explorations in the AI jungle. This is what we call your personal AI charter. And I want you to think of it as a living document, a declaration of your own digital sovereignty. It's where you make your toolkit official. It's not a contract with the tech. It's a commitment to yourself about how you're going to show up clear and in control. Okay, the first part is the foundation, your core values. Before you even engage, you define what matters most to you. Is it curiosity, fairness, creativity? By just writing these down, you create an anchor. Every single interaction can then be measured against them. You can ask, does this serve my values? For example, if creativity is a core value, you might decide to use AI to brainstorm, but never to do the actual writing for you. Next, you make the top rung of your boundary ladder official. What are your absolute non-negotiables? This is where you draw clear, bright lines in the sand. You state explicitly which parts of your life and your work are completely off limits for AI decision-making. This isn't about being paranoid. It's about personal integrity. And finally, you commit to action. You make a real promise to yourself that you're actually going to use these tools. I will apply the pause protocol when I feel dazzled. I will use the clarity checklist for important tasks. This step is what transforms these abstract ideas into a concrete, personal practice. The jungle of superintelligence isn't some distant future anymore. It's here. We can either be overwhelmed by it, or we can become confident, curious explorers. With the right mindset, the right tools, and a clear personal map, we are more than ready. So the only question left is, are you ready to start exploring?
Thoughts? Feedback?
I think it's still a tool.
Me too.
Yeah. So this is where it gets down to the super intelligence. I mean, if the calculator could, answer any questions that you could type in via numbers, it's great. If it can answer questions that you can't answer blazingly fast, it's great. But you still have to look at it's a tool. It's super intelligent. We're just saying now we're going to maybe say general intelligence. It will, write a formula or help somebody solve a problem with diagnosis. This is awesome. It can do that. But it has no cognition. It has no values. It has none of the attributes, the fuzzy stuff that make us human, because we don't know how to program that. Once we know how to program it, it'll be a different story.
So I'd like to say to that, Paul, that I agree with you. I felt like using chat has made me get clearer with my values, and I realized that whatever values chat shows up with, they have to be my values and my mission and my vision. And so I rely on this as a tool, like, this video said, or, you've said, that's it. It's just a tool. But I think it's really, it's helped me to really define more into the granular areas that this is what I want. This is not, I'm not taking what the chat wants. I want to know what I want. And I say to people, I get people asking me to teach them AI. I think it's hysterical, but I say, garbage in, garbage out, and I mean, that's the same. That's just so true. So yeah, that's my
Absolutely. Go ahead, Peggy.
Yeah, well, I agree with most of it, and I don't find it super intelligent at all, and I don't find that it does what I ask it to do. I don't waste a lot of my time, so I don't know about it being super intelligent, why I have to ask it 10 times to do the same thing, when every time you ask it to do something, it does something different, which isn't what you wanted, and I can't remember anything. So I could be the operator. But those are the challenges I have around it. So I just am not trying to make anybody wrong. I just find it's not very smart if it can't get the job done the first time or the second time. I'm like, by the time I finally get done with it, I'm like, I could have done this myself and then asked it to just take a look at it. So that's my feedback on it. And I'll keep using it. It's a tool. What else? It's good for that. It's good to get things done in a quicker way, but I don't feel that I can depend on it. And when Sarah's saying she uses it for certain things, got to be very careful about it because I found out I have looked at it and had it look at things and it comes up with answers that are scary as hell. So you got to have a human look at your stuff too. Okay. That's experienced in what they're doing because it doesn't understand what it does because it's not human, because it's actually not using money, we'll say for investments. It doesn't understand what that loss could be to you. It's not really making the correct, it might not be giving you a good direction. And
Can I?
and yeah, you have to look at the risk and you have to follow up on the risk and you need to check with somebody that's really understands it. Yes, Sarah.
Paul, if you don't mind me jumping in. So, yeah, I agree with everything you're saying, Peggy, and that's why I was saying it really made me um, um, hone down on what was important to me, especially in the financial area. I found it very interesting. I told I had a discussion with Chan on um, what were my investment criterias and what my financial I'm conservative, so like where I place my priorities in investing. And it's been really interesting. I've given chat very speculative options to do. I said, well, please evaluate this investment. And it comes back and it says, this is not in alignment with your values. And I'm like, get out of here. you know? So I agree with you, Peggy. Well, that's what I was saying. Garbage in, garbage out. It's really an evaluation of the reader, um, as to what information you're getting. You just can't put something in. I mean, I have seen people put things into chat and then just copy and paste it without really evaluating it. And I mean that to me is scary. That to me is scary. So
Yes.
anyway.
Yeah. I'll pile on a little bit. So, Peggy, you're not alone in trying more and more prompts to try and get whatever the answer is that you want out of it. My wife has been doing this with her images. It's just, it is non-deterministic. And I think that goes without saying that we should understand the tools. And this reminds me of back in the days of calculators where you had the Texas Instrument or the Hewlett Packard. Reverse Polish notation, they called it, RPN. I loved it. Nobody else who had a TI could figure out how to use my calculator, which was fine because it was my calculator. Eh? Anyway, so I think this is where we're now in this adoption of we're trying to figure out we've got this new tool. It's different than any other tool we've ever used. And now we have to figure out, is it RPN? Is it TI? Or is it something totally different? So our mindset is starting to switch. And then, as I think we refer to it to the genie. You ask the genie, we all know the three wishes, and we all know that they never turn out well. And why is it they don't turn out well? Because interpretation of the English language is because it's not very precise. Math is extremely precise. And so one of my advice to people who are trying to solve some sort of a problem, have it write a program the program will then execute precisely the same way each time. And then you can modify the program going back and forth, but you know that the program is going to execute in a deterministic fashion. So, but it's also constrained to very simple thoughts. It's not going to write your research paper for you that you do have to read and correct and whatnot. And on that note, we had it translate my wife's book from Spanish to English. And I did the proofing. And the one thing that was really interesting or annoying is that part of the character is a squirrel, and it translated it from the Spanish word for squirrel to the English word for rodent. So now your hero or one of the heroes is a rodent, which doesn't go well. So yeah, oh well.
Yes.
Never given up my TI calculator. I love the Polish. It saves so much time.
I did it with I got an HP calculator with the Polish notation. Yes, I also just completely loved it. But I have to admit, in that same class, that particular teacher, I don't remember what his point was or if he just had a great sense of humor, but he made us all start with a oh, now I can't remember what they're called. Slide those sliding tools.
Slide
A
rule.
slide rule.
A
Those were
slide
awesome.
rule.
Come on, you all have to learn how to use a slide rule,
He
the
made us
manual method.
all learn how to use a slide rule.
And
And
take a
actually,
log on your slide rule. Yes.
yes, it was actually quite fun. But so when he said, okay, and now you can go buy calculators, and my dad bought me that HP with the reverse Polish notation, I was like, ah!
I use my Hewlett Packard. I've been using that for years.
Ah,
Not the TI. Anyway,
It is HP.
I've got one of those too. In fact, I have two of them someplace.
They work.
well, like a lot of you, I have asked ChatGPT to set me up with some things, and it's spit out pages and pages of all you have to do is this. Which is why I haven't really come back on here yet to show you agents and automations because I don't know what ChatGPT thinks, but you know, it just spits all this stuff out and it's done. And I go to start implementing it, and I discover tons of things that would never have occurred to it. You know, and then when I go back to it and I say thus and such feature or that you said is or the button or this thing, it's not there. And what just like Peggy says, what eventually happens is we go back and forth. I keep giving it screenshots, but what really happens is I finally just get really irritated, and I do the brute force approach of punching everything on the screen until I find the thing. But that means the whole thing took a lot longer, and I end up feeling like what Peggy described is, well, I got to done this myself. Go ahead.
Well, you know what I find is that I ask chat for things, and then you mentioned this, I want to say the last week, the week before, and it'll say, well, would you like this? You know, it gets done with whatever it's giving, and would you like this? And then I say, yes, please. And they go on. And then would you like that? And I read it, and it's wonderful. I'm like, wow, I'm really glad that was a point I thought of, and it's made really well here. Would you like this? I say, yes. I end up having, you know, this huge amount of information I would never have had. And you know, it actually does end up taking me longer, because all of a sudden I'm like, well, do it in this tone. You know, if I'm writing an email or something, do it in this tone or this person's voice, and I want to see the difference. And I just find that sometimes, like, I'm up to 1 a.m. trying to figure this stuff out. I'm trying to figure this stuff out, and I'm like, okay, Sarah, you have to put a boundary on that, you know. So
Yes.
it's,
Yes.
I mean, it's fun. I love. Yeah, I'm really happy with this stuff.
I am too. And yes, I am creating a ton of stuff. A lot of stuff I create. I have, most people will probably never see, partially because I don't have time to get it out there, and partially because, you know, my priorities kind of shift. And so that's why I talk about the Dazzle syndrome, because just like you, Sarah, it offers me, oh, and would you like this? And would you like this in the LinkedIn format? And then, oh, well, would you like the one-liner that you can drop into your open office hour anytime you want? And would you like and it's like, oh. And at some point it's like, I will say to it, no, this is good enough. Bye. No, I don't say bye, but essentially.
So you want to do like a deep dive on the topics that you brought up in your slide deck, or?
So today it was, so thank you for reminding me, Robert. So today it was only going to introduce this whole concept to you, talk to you about the Dazzle syndrome. Next week, I'm going over the clarity list. And then the week after that was the boundary ladder, because I want to establish all of this as a workshop. So for people who attend my open office hour and people who know to go to my YouTube channel, this is all free. You can come back and review this anytime. For people who might want the whole workshop at their own pace later, there will be a fee for that. The other thing that I'm setting up is a community. So I don't think asynchronous is the right word, but my point is you can pop into the community anytime. It's kind of like a Facebook group, only it won't be on Facebook. Ask questions, share information, whatever you like. And if other people answer in the group, I'll monitor it. If it looks great, I'll leave it be. If not, if I have more to add to it, I will add to it as well. That's the beauty of communities. So, yes, thank you, Marcy. That's a very good question. It's actually, if you just go to YouTube and search for Terza Ekholm, you should find it, youtube.com. Let me just put it in the chat. I believe this will just get you right there. So, you should be able to type in Terza Ekholm and it will take you right there. And you should also be able to subscribe and share. Oh, yes. And then one more thing is I am setting up an affiliate program. So if you wanted to participate and share my courses, then there would be a commission paid back to you. So that one might be a little bit more complicated in spite of the fact that ChatGPT already gave me this whole long formula of how I can do that. We'll see how easy that actually is. But that is all of my intents of doing that. And thank you very much for your inputs on the meeting times. Everyone I have talked to here and offline or out of this meeting has all pretty much said the same thing you did, which is just move it to 10 to 11 a.m. Mountain Time. So, which is kind of a relief for me. So I appreciate that. I will also, this is sort of the way my brain works. While I was building this part of the presentation and the handouts and that kind of thing, I was doing that in one browser. In another browser, I was going through all the steps that I would use to automate the back end pieces of it. So the reason I'm mentioning that to you is because I also do intend to share with anyone who's interested a more advanced version where I show you exactly how I implemented this step by step without sharing with you unless you really want it. 120 pages plus of my conversation with ChatGPT of how to do that. So I wasn't sure if I was going to share this in the workshop per se, but sometimes what I will do is open up 3 different chats on screen with ChatGPT. One is my chat with ChatGPT because I'm just curious about everything. And so in that chat, it's a deliberate, and I outline it up the top. This chat is about not the how, but the why and the implications and what does this mean and what's going to happen if I do it this way. So there's that chat, kind of more the philosophical chat. Then there's the execution chat. Tell me how to do the different things. And then I've got a third chat, which right now doesn't come to mind, but I actually have 3 different chats open, because I think on 3 different levels, and I don't, when I've put it all into the same chat, I have discovered that eventually I can confuse it. So by making 3 different conversations about essentially the same thing, but from different perspectives, it helps keep me grounded. I wasn't going to put that in a workshop because I'm not sure a lot of people would appreciate doing it that way, but give me your feedback. Let me know what you think. Yes, yes, Paul, exactly right. So in the project, I also have those 3 chats related to the project.
So they're projects now, they're not agents anymore.
Think of a project like a folder. So if you
Are they agents or
You're
they're just
limiting
projects?
the project limits the context window. So in ChatGTP, and I haven't used the projects there yet, but I've been experimenting with NotebookLM. But the ChatGTP, you can basically, it's kind of like forming your own retrieval augmented stuff, RAG they call it, that you throw in the stuff you wanted to search first and leave, you know, make it more precise on the topic. ChatGTP will still go out to the wild if it doesn't find it within your local stuff first. The Google Notebook LMs will only answer based upon the information you give it within its notebook. So it's somewhat similar. Does that make sense, Robert?
I guess so.
Okay.
I understand what you said, but I'd have to go look at. I've just started looking at. I did projects, but I haven't seen an agent yet. Yeah.
So an agent, and Terza, I thank you for the thing about Perplexity Pro. I did the whole sign up. It went okay, so I got it now. That's kind of bizarre. An agent, so I can talk to Perplexity Pro in the Comet browser, and I wanted to clean up my Gmail inbox. So now I'm telling Perplexity what I want. Let's throw away all the junk mail that has nothing to do with account subscriptions or maybe password resets or security stuff. What are the top 3 junk mail senders? Okay, it gave me that. And I said, okay, go. Delete those. And it says, okay, fine, I'll delete those for you. So it went off in my behalf to my Gmail account and deleted, thousands of emails, which is fine. Yeah, I have 35,000 in my inbox. I'm down to 32,000 now. So it's going slowly. But I use, my emails are my history on stuff. So I want to know, when did I change password? When was there a security alert? Things like that. So that stays since 2012 or before. Anyway, those are agents. That's an agent working on my behalf. What Terza is talked about with the projects or the 3 separate chats is to limit it in your context window so that when you're asking a question, it's doing a little bit more specific research for you in a smaller window instead of having the broad base of all human knowledge. Just talk about what you need it to talk about. The thing I use, I forgot, I left Copilot out of my list that I experiment. Copilot is the one I go to mostly, and it now will track all your history, but every chat, it remembers which other chats that you talked about in. So now it's kind of a bizarre thing that it's getting more contextual information about me, so it can help me better and be more conducive to interaction. But I don't have to go searching for a chat anymore, which is really hard because I got a lot of them.
Yes. The thing I'm thrilled to be using Perplexity Pro, as I shared a couple of meetings ago. It doesn't have the depth of experience, say, with me. It doesn't have all the previous chats, although like I have with ChatGPT. So I probably will not stop subscribing to ChatGPT. But I do observe when I interact with Google Gemini, the advanced version, because I had upgraded with it as well, it doesn't remember previous chats, at least not in the same way that ChatGPT does. So you kind of have to start over again. I'll see if Perplexity Pro is like that as well. But one of the things that this Iman talked about was the context window. If they keep expanding it, that's true, but eventually it gets to the edge of its context window of your chat or what memories it can hold about you. And so what it does is probably more in the computer science thing, it indexes, and it has other ways of its ability to rapidly get into data that it's saved about you. But at the same time, it's now limited in how much it can go through for your chats. At least he brought that up several times, in part because it was a setup for his free tool called Marketer AI, if you wanted to go try it. But he says that one has a huge window of memory of what it will do. Now, that's specifically for marketing. It's still a lot of things to, I guess it's in beta. There's a lot of other features that it's not quite there yet. But if you want to check it out, I haven't used it very much, and I have no affiliate code or anything like that. In fact, it's free. So if you feel like checking it out, go ahead. But he talks about the context window as well. So, any other thoughts, comments, preferences? I want to be sure I don't lose people who want the beginning stuff. So I'll be offering beginning level workshops, and then I'll be offering more advanced level workshops as well. Peggy. Oh, you're okay. Emmeline.
Whoops. I was fascinated by what Paul was saying about cleaning up his his email. You only have 35,000. I've got 58,000. Yeah. And I have tried to go back and start eliminating stuff, but if I could have whether it's an agent or some way of getting rid of all of this excess crap, basically. Yeah. That would, number one, it would clean it up, but it would also really open up my computer where I get these messages saying, oh, you're getting to the limit of how much space you have on there. And I mean, I got a lot of space on my computer because I do a lot of photography. But I started looking at these emails, and it's just like, oh my gosh, I just need to do it. So I don't know if and you did it through Perplexity Pro, is that right?
Right. Yeah. So Perplexity Pro gave me a link to download their Comet, but I think you can do it within the Perplexity Pro app also. I just did it in the Comet because I could have a tab. Comet is a new browser. It's like their Google AI browser now. But yeah, so you can have a tab, and that's the tab that I started the email conversation with. And it's like talking to a child. You got to be you got to be precise, and before you tell it to go take action, say, what are you going to do? And it says, and it comes back and says, would you like me to do this, after it tells you what it's going to do? And I said, yeah, sure, do it. And then I go off and do something else, and it's working. You can see it work in the background. It pops up little kind of thumbnail pop-ups, and it goes from there. So, and then I see my email counter decrease and say, yay. I haven't, it's in the trash. It hasn't really been deleted yet. So, and I haven't gone to the trash to take a look to see if there's anything important in there. But it's kind of like, if it were important, I didn't look at it for 5 years. Doesn't matter.
Oh, I know that's and the time that it takes to try to go back and go through them and to eliminate them is like man, I really need the time to be working on my current projects. And it looks like Tirza's got all kinds of stuff going on here.
I'm looking for, because it gave me the same offer it gave Paul, and now I don't see it. But if you sign up for the Perplexity Pro, you get the year for free if you sign up
Right.
through PayPal. And then after that, it'll be $20 a month. But there was a pop-up at some point that said, download the Comet browser for free, which is their
Right.
invention.
Comment, okay.
Yep.
Well, there it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
I guess you can.
And did you say it's free for how long?
A year when you sign up through PayPal.
With PayPal,
Yeah,
okay.
you have to go to the PayPal site and start it from there. And the offer ends December 31st, I believe.
Ah, thank you for that.
All right, I can follow up with Tirza to make sure I'm doing this, but oh gosh, that would make my life so much happier.
Me too, me too. So,
Common browser.
yeah,
Oh, well, thank you, Paul, for sharing that too.
yes,
Sure.
thank you. All right. Thank you everyone for participating, and oh, I like that. Can you help me clean up my Gmail? Yes, because I need that one too. So, thank you. So next week we will start and we'll go from 10 to 11 a.m. Mountain Time. I will be sure to broadcast that in as many places as I can find, and I appreciate your flexibility with me changing times. And I will say a little bit more also about the new meeting format, most of which we did today. It's not going to be that much different from what we're already doing. So
this was terrific. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
and
you.
Tirza, will
Yeah.
we get a replay from today? Because unfortunately,
Yes.
I had to go take a phone call. So
Yes,
okay,
I will.
I feel like I must have missed something really important. So
All right. I'll share.
Okay.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
thanks, everyone. Bye, Tirza.
Thank you.
You're welcome.